When I got the source material for today, I honestly thought there was some kind of mix-up.
You saw the title and thought we were doing story time.
I did. I thought, really? A bedtime story? I mean, it's Cinderella. Everyone knows it. Glass slipper, pumpkin, midnight deadline. I feel like I could recite it in my sleep. But then I actually opened the document you sent, the original 1697 text from Charles Perrault, and I realized I don't know the story at all.
It's one of the most well-known stories in the world, that's true. But what we usually know is a very sanitized version, a Disney version.
Right.
When you go back to Perrault's La Cenicienta, you're not reading a kid's story. You're reading a manual on social dynamics for the French court.
Exactly. And that's what blew my mind. It's not about a magical makeover. It feels more like a guide to what the text calls gentileza or grace, and honestly, a pretty brutal look at networking.
It really is. Perrault was a courtier. He knew status inside and out. So when you peel back the magic, you find a story that's obsessed with hierarchy, brand management, and, well, how to navigate a hostile work environment.
So that's our mission today. We're going to look past the version we all grew up with. We're going to get into the really specific details Perrault included, from lizard footmen to the tactical use of citrus fruit.
And we have to talk about that ending.
Oh, we are definitely talking about the ending. The source has two morals, and the second one, it just changes everything.
It puts a very different spin on happily ever after. But to get there, we have to understand where she starts.
Right. The domestic dynamic. So we have a gentleman. He marries for the second time. And the text does not mince words about the stepmother. It calls her the haughtiest and proudest woman that had ever been seen.
And her two daughters are exactly like her in everything. Perrault sets up this immediate contrast because the gentleman's daughter is described as having unparalleled sweetness and goodness,
which she gets from her mother, who was the best person in the world.
So you have this clear biological line drawn, good versus haughty.
And the abuse starts immediately. Like the wedding ends and the abuse begins. But what got me was the reason for it. The stepmother can't stand the girl's good qualities because they make her own daughters seem even more hateful.
That's a huge psychological insight right there. It's not just dislike. It's that the girl's existence is a mirror to her daughter's flaws. It's pure insecurity.
So she degrades her, strips her status through labor, and the tasks are so specific they're called the vilest tasks. Scrubbing floors, cleaning rooms.
But the living conditions are what really sets the scene. Perrault is very focused on the real estate.
He is. It's so stark. The sisters have rooms with parquet floors, fashionable beds, full-length mirrors.
And Cinderella.
She gets the attic, the bouhardia, and sleeps on a wretched straw mat.
It's a total removal of her status, and that's where her name comes from. When she was done working, she'd sit in the chimney corner, on the ashes, the cenizas.
Hence, Cenicienta, Cinderella. She's literally named after the dirt from her work.
But, and this is a key detail, the text says that even in rags and ashes, she was 100 times more beautiful than her sisters in all their finery.
Right, so her intrinsic value is still there, which is interesting because the next part of the story is all about the importance of external adornment.
The ball preparation.
This part is just wild. So the king's son is hosting a ball. The invitation list is exclusive for all the distinguished persons.
Which, of course, includes the two sisters. They have a big name in the region.
And the second they get that invite, it's total crisis mode. It's like a makeover montage gone wrong. The older sister picks her red velvet dress with English accessories.
Adornos de Inglaterra. So imported goods. A sign of high status in the French court.
And the younger one picks a simple skirt, but with a coat that has gold flowers and a diamond brooch. They're planning their outfits like a military campaign.
And then there's the diet.
The diet. The text says they broke more than 12 laces trying to tighten their waists to look thinner, and they stop eating for 2 full days.
It's pretty disturbing. But here's the irony. Who do they rely on to get them ready?
It's Cinderella.
They don't just order her around. They consult her. They ask her opinion because she has good taste.
She's their stylist. She irons their linens. She pleats their cuffs. She does their hair perfectly.
And the text makes a point of saying anyone else would have sabotaged their hair, but Cinderella's good, so she makes them look perfect.
And their thanks. Just pure cruelty. While she's doing their hair, they ask her, Cinderella, would you like to go to the ball?
And she knows it's a trap. She says, you're mocking me.
And they agree with her. They say, you're right, people would laugh to see a Cenicienta at the ball, just reinforcing that she doesn't belong.
They're policing the boundaries of their class.
So they leave, she breaks down crying, and this is where the magic comes in. The fairy godmother appears.
And I love this part because it's not just a wave of a wand. It's
Mhm.
it's logistics. It's a recipe.
It's a whole supply chain operation. Okay, let's break down the inventory. First, the carriage. The godmother says, "Go get me a pumpkin."
Cinderella grabs the best one, they scoop it out, tap it with the wand, and boom, gilded golden coach.
Standard. But then they need horses.
So the fairy checks the mousetrap. 6 live mice, taps each one as it comes out.
And they become 6 dappled gray horses. A very specific, fashionable color.
But now they have a coach and horses, but no driver.
And Cinderella speaks up. She says, "I'll go check the rat trap." She's being resourceful.
She finds 3 big rats,
Yeah.
and the godmother has to make a choice. She inspects them and picks one. Do you remember why?
Yes. She picks the one with the most impressive beard.
Exactly, because when he's transformed, that beard becomes a magnificent mustache. It's all about the aesthetic of a proper coachman.
Even the magic has to follow social norms.
And then they need footmen, lacayos.
She sends Cinderella to find 6 lizards behind the watering pot,
Lizards.
turns them into 6-foot men in fancy suits who just jump onto the back of the carriage like they've been doing it their whole lives.
Which Corot frames as a bit of a joke about footmen just being decorative and good at clinging to things.
I love that little jab. Okay, so then Cinderella's outfit, rags to a dress of gold and silver covered in jewels, and of course the zapatillas de cristal.
The glass slippers, the most precious in the world. But with the gift comes the warning.
The midnight ultimatum. 1 minute passed and it all turns back. Pumpkin, mice, lizards,
The
rags.
stakes are very high.
So she goes. And her entrance. It's incredible. The text says complete silence falls. The violins stop playing. The entire event just halts.
Even the old king can't stop staring at her.
And the prince puts her in the seat of honor. But this is the part that I found so fascinating, the part that's never in the movies. It's how she treats her sisters.
Yes, this is the key to her strategy.
She doesn't ignore them. She doesn't gloat. She goes and sits with them.
With the people who abuse her every day.
And she shows them 1,000 attentions. And then she shares the snacks the prince gave her.
The citrus.
The oranges and lemons, which sounds weird to us now, but you have to explain the context.
Oh, it was a supreme luxury. In 17th century France, citrus fruit was incredibly rare and expensive. It showed you had access to global trade, to royal greenhouses.
So sharing them isn't just being nice.
No, it's a massive flex. It's a display of extreme wealth and favor, all wrapped in a gesture of kindness. The sisters are just stunned. They have no idea who she is.
And then she hears the clock strike 11:45 and she's gone. A perfect exit.
Leaves them wanting more.
So she gets home and her sisters arrive gushing about the beautiful princess who gave them oranges.
And Cinderella, with his amazing poker face, just asks, was she really that beautiful?
She's teasing them. She pushes it even further. She asks her sister Javot to lend her the yellow dress she wears every day so she can go see the princess herself.
It's a test. One last chance for Javot to show some kindness.
And she fails spectacularly. She says, "Lend my dress to a Cenicienta. I'd have to be crazy."
So that's that. Night 2.
She goes back, even more beautifully dressed. The prince never leaves her side. And she's having such a good time, she loses track of time.
She forgets the plan.
Thinks it's only 11. And then the first stroke of midnight sounds.
Oh, panic.
She flees like a gazelle, loses one of the glass slippers. The magic dissolves instantly. She's running home, breastless, in rags, holding just one slipper.
And the guards later say they didn't see a princess leave. Just a poorly dressed peasant girl.
So a few days later, trumpets. The prince declares he'll marry whoever fits the slipper.
And look at the hierarchy of the search. First, princesses, then duchesses, then the whole court.
They're working their way down the social ladder. They get to the sisters, who try everything to force their feet in, but it's no use.
And this is Cinderella's moment. She just laughs and says, "Can I see if it fits me?"
The sisters mock her, of course, but the gentleman in charge, the court official, he steps in.
He's the impartial bureaucrat. He knows she's very pretty, but more importantly, he says his orders are to try it on all young women. Protocol.
So he sits her down, brings the slipper to her foot, and it fits. Effortlessly.
Like it was made of wax. The sisters are stunned.
Yeah.
But then comes the real shock.
The mic drop. She reaches into her pocket and pulls out the other slipper.
Bam. And just then, the godmother appears. One last transformation, and she's in a gown more magnificent than before.
The sisters finally get it. They throw themselves at her feet, begging for forgiveness.
And she embraces them. forgives them with all her heart.
But she doesn't just forgive them. She marries the prince, and then she immediately brings her sisters to the palace and marries them off to two great lords of the court.
That's the ultimate act of gentileza. She uses her newfound power to elevate the very people who tried to crush her.
Okay, so story's over, but it's not. We have to talk about the morals. Perrault literally writes two different moralias at the end.
And they offer two very different readings of the entire story.
The first one is pretty much what you'd expect. It says, beauty is a treasure, but gentileza, grace, charm, kindness is worth even more.
Right. That was the fairy's true gift. Her graciousness is what allowed her to become queen. It's the soft skills moral. Character counts.
But then there's the second one, and this one is, well, it's dark.
It's shockingly cynical. Perrault writes that things like intelligence, courage, nobility, common sense, these are all great gifts from heaven. But they are useless for getting ahead in the world unless you have a godmother or a godfather to make them known.
Whoa. So the moral isn't be good and you'll succeed. It's be good, but you will get absolutely nowhere without a powerful connection.
That's exactly it. It's a brutal commentary on patronage. Perrault is saying that Cinderella had the beauty and the goodness the whole time. She had the product. But without her supernatural networking connection, her fairy godmother, she would have died in the ashes.
That just reframes everything. It's not a story about magic. It's a story about access.
It's the glass slipper strategy. You need the talent, yes. You need the grace. You need to fit the shoe. But none of that matters if you don't have someone who can get you into the room where it happens.
So she didn't succeed. Despite her circumstances, she succeeded because of a sponsor.
Precisely. The fairy godmother is the ultimate venture capitalist. She sees the potential, invests the resources, the coach, the clothes, the lizards, and launches her into the market.
Wow. That completely changes how I'll think about this story. It's not a fairy tale, it's a career guide.
A very pragmatic one. It teaches that merit is necessary, but networking is what closes the deal.
Oh, that's a lot to think about. We'll leave it there. But here's a final thought for you to chew on. If that second moral is the real takeaway, is this story actually a satire? Is Perrault subtly mocking a society where having a magical connection is more important than actually being a good person?
That is the question.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time.